welcome back to the Fumble Live. Thank you for tuning in today. All right, you guys, we're talking about that Heat versus Bucks game last night. Do you guys think that Heat needs to be worried about what's going to happen? We're getting into all of that. We're also talking about this latest Julio Jones update, and should the Falcons fandom have known this was going to come? Before we dive in, make sure you subscribe to our channel, tap the bell for notifications, give this video a thumbs up, and leave a comment below. Here's the Fumble Squad. I'm Devin Howard. You can find me on Instagram as @DevinHoward.
Good morning, everybody. I'm Jackie Ray. You can follow me on Instagram and Twitter @JRayTheFanatic. And Devin, do you know what today is?
It's Taco Tuesday! Yay, Jackie, I was worried you weren't going to remember, but you did, so I'm very proud of you.
You always be worried about that. I seem to be forgetting a lot now.
Me too. I always forget fan or foe. I don't remember if you decided you were taking care of that or if I was taking care of that, but somehow I always forget, so it seems like it's your responsibility now just because I am dropping the ball. How are you feeling today, Jackie? Everything going well for you?
It's good. It's Tuesday, so I want to remind you guys again that Challenge Accepted comes out tomorrow at 1 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, so don't forget that. And I will be watching my Lakers tonight. So it'll be a good Tuesday, I hope.
And hopefully you're going to be having some tacos while you watch the Lakers, because that's what I'm planning on doing.
I don't know. I mean, it depends on how it goes. I might be drinking a lot during the game. We'll just, but maybe tacos and, tequila, maybe.
Yeah, I feel like that sounds like the perfect solution. That's like a celebratory meal, or it's also like a eat your feelings kind of meal. Right. So whatever happens, you're prepared both ways. But you know what? I think we really need to be optimistic. We need to be excited. We need to have a lot of hope going into the game. So I think you're going to be celebrating with tacos and tequila. At least that's my plan. I think that's going to be a lot of fun. Okay, let's discuss this Heat versus Bucks game. So the Heat lost game 1, and now they also lost game 2. Watching it, they didn't really seem to have that like kind of fire, that like energy and motivation that you would expect after losing that first game. I felt like we'd see them playing with like they had a chip on their shoulder, but I didn't really notice that as much. They just didn't come back with a vengeance in the same way that I thought they would. And it was crazy because you were watching the game and before you knew it, the Bucks were up 15 and then they were up 20 and then they were up 30 and then they walked away with a win. And it was just like this kind of blowout win. Of course, there are still at least 2 games to be played, so the Heat could have an opportunity to kind of make a comeback and catch up. But do they really stand a chance at winning this series? So let's discuss this. I feel like with the Heat, they've always kind of had this never quit mentality. They're kind of scrappy. They go in it always with the plan and the expectation to win, which is a little bit surprising given the comments that Giannis made last week that we talked about when Giannis was kind of like, I don't know if this is going to be different. I don't know if things are going to look different this year. So I sort of felt like the Bucks were going to be going into this series with the defeatist attitude, but they're not. They're really playing with everything they've got, and I do think that the Miami Heat still can come back and get their heads back in the game and still maybe win this series. It's not completely out of the question yet. There are a couple things at play here that I think could be going on. Of course, last season with the playoffs, that all happened in the bubble, and Jimmy Butler was one of those people who didn't bring any family, didn't bring any guests. He was really just all in, totally focused on the game. So maybe this is a bit of an adjustment, kind of going back to the way playoffs used to be. It's been over a year since, we've had playoffs even looking like this. So maybe he's just having a little bit of trouble acclimating to the tension, the stress, the pressure of the postseason. He did make a quote last night that said, "The bright spot is I don't think we can play any worse." So he's kind of feeling like that was rock bottom.
That's what we're doing? We excited about what? Okay, continue. My bad. I did. Okay.
What I'm taking from that is that he thinks that that's rock bottom and it's only uphill from here, which is, I prefer that attitude over anything for them. But yeah, I mean, it could just be a learning curve. It could not a learning curve necessarily, but just like an adjustment period. But I don't know, Jackie, what was your takeaway watching that game last night and watching the Heat lose the second game in a row?
So My thing, you guys know, one of my biggest things is what kind of adjustments do you make, right? So there was zero lead changes in that situation. That game literally was over in the first quarter. Just, I mean, if we're going to be honest about it, it was over in the first quarter. There was
Mhm.
no sense of intensity after that moment. Um, they didn't even score. They barely scored the first half. What the Bucks scored in the first quarter. There was no sense of intensity. Jimmy only had, I think, 10 points. Trevor Ariza put up a goose egg. That's not,
Mhm.
y'all know I hate the goose eggs. And I get that sometimes you can play your role. You guys know I'm a big role player. But when your team needs you, your team needs you. You need to be whatever your team needs at that moment. And putting up a goose egg is just not it. And he's absolutely right. This is rock bottom. But I personally am not entirely sure if going up from here is actually a thing. I just don't know. I don't know. I don't know how they play this. I don't know how they get better from here because I didn't see any adjustments in the second half. I didn't see the intensity level go up in the second half. The starters weren't even the lead scorer. I mean, I think Bam had 16 or something like that, but I think the leading scorer was Dwayne, coming off the bench. So the starters really kind of let the whole situation down, and I just wasn't. I didn't like what I saw from Miami yesterday, and you made a good point. Jimmy Butler in the bubble last season, he didn't bring his family there. He was all dialed in. If that's what you need to do now, sir, then that's what you need to do now. You need to create your own bubble. I'm not trying to. I get it because I'll have to admit, even watching the games, I've gotten so used to being able to hear the conversations from players, and I've gotten used to the squeaking of the shoes, hearing that more, and I've actually started to enjoy it. But now hearing the fans and not being able to hear the nuances that I did before, it did take some getting used to. But that's me watching it. That's not me trying to win the game. So if you got to self isolate to be your best self in the game, that's what you need to do. But we can't be saying there's no excuses for this. There's no excuses for not we can talk about the Jazz. They only lost by 3 points. We can say if Donovan Mitchell was in the game, they definitely would have won that game. Or if Rudy Gobert hadn't fouled out, maybe they would have won that game. But there's no excuses for this. This game was literally over in the first quarter. This hurts my heart because y'all know I love me some Jimmy Butler, but I just didn't see the Jimmy Butler that I expected to see in this game. And you're absolutely right. It threw me off. I expected this kind of nonchalant, maybe he's going to do great, maybe he won't, from Giannis because of
Mhm.
Giannis's attitude. But maybe we got it all wrong. Maybe having that relaxed mindset where you're not putting a whole bunch of pressure on yourself and you're just going to go out there and play your best game and just kind of leave it on the court and whatever happens, happens. Maybe that's the better attitude. Maybe this whole being super intense and we've got to win at all costs. Maybe you're self-sabotaging a little bit. I don't know. But what we saw from the Heat last night, I can't say they won't get swept. I mean, I get that there's time, but it doesn't feel like it to me.
Mm.
All right.
Wow. Okay, so Jackie, you've lost hope in the Heat. I still think that they could make a comeback. I mean, obviously, it needs to happen sooner rather than later. And I do think that Jimmy Butler needs to adjust something, whether it's his mindset or what he's surrounding himself with. If he does need to create this, like, bubble for himself, that's what he needs to do. I want to mention, so they had their worst playoff game as a team yesterday, but Jimmy had his worst individual game ever on Sunday. So, I obviously think that maybe it is just kind of breaking into this playoff mentality that was so different from what he had to deal with last year. But is that what you think is going on with Jimmy Butler, or is there just something else happening here? Is there chemistry issues with the team? What, if you had to guess, is the reason for that terrible game on Sunday and then these two back-to-back losses?
So now it puts us in this situation where, again, and I said this before when we talked about Sham saying that, Jimmy Butler was having these intense conversations with coaches and players. Now we have to circle back to that. And that's one of the reasons why I don't like that narrative out there, because this literally could just be Heat woes. It doesn't have to necessarily be something bigger. It doesn't have to necessarily be chemistry issues. I saw somebody in the chat said they're just choking. It could literally be just that. They wouldn't be the first team in history that we've seen choke. However, now that this narrative is out there that Jimmy Butler is being a little too intense and a little bit too aggressive with his coaches and his teammates, Now you have to circle back to chemistry, and now you have to wonder if Jimmy Butler is the problem. And that's one of those reasons why I don't like those kinds of narratives out there, because I personally believe that if you play on a competitive level, you're going to have arguments. There's going to be intense situations. That's just how, if you're a competitive person, that just is what it is. But now that this narrative is out there, now you have to wonder. You just have to wonder, is what he's saying. And I do believe that Jimmy Butler is that guy that just says what he means and means what he says, and he doesn't sugarcoat it. I can tell you firsthand, as being that same type of person, that always alienates some people. It pulls some people who appreciate that and say, you know what, we get what we get. We know where he stands with this, but it alienates some people who are a little soft. Let's just call it what it is. It does alienate some people. Some people can't take it. So now we have to wonder if Shams was telling the truth and they're suffering from chemistry issues because now people can't take what Jimmy Butler is saying. Winston in the chat says Tyler Hero has chemistry problems. No argument there, but he's not the one that's getting that narrative. He's just not the one. It's Jimmy Butler. So now you have to just wonder how much of this does he have to bear the weight of? You just do. And I hate it because I love Jimmy, but you do have to wonder that.
Yeah, and with Tyler Hero, the worst thing that he's been accused of is A, getting a bad haircut, and B, acting like a celebrity with his Subway deal or whatever it was that we talked about, his Chipotle bowl. So I don't know. I don't think that Tyler Hero is necessarily the problem here. I think that people did get a lot of high expectations for Tyler in the playoffs last season, but now watching him throughout this season and seeing that he's not going to be that same playoff player that we saw in the bubble has kind of released him from the pressure and the standards that people wanted to hold him to. So I don't think that the problem here is necessarily Tyler. I don't want to go so far as to say that I think it's Jimmy either, but it's worth considering just based on the rumors that we've heard and now watching them pretty much choke in these 2 games. So you guys, let me know in the chat, what do you think is going to happen with this series? Is it going to be a sweep? Does Miami still have a chance to come back and, win the series? It's looking less and less like that's going to happen, but I'm personally holding out a little bit of hope. I am glad to see that Giannis and the Bucks are not going into this with that defeated weak mentality. It just totally seemed like they were going to last week when we were talking about it. So it is a bit refreshing to see them act like that. I know we have something coming up in the post-up about Giannis, being really excited about the win yesterday. So that's going to be fun to talk about because we all like a happy Giannis. Come on, we got to admit it.
I like a happy Jimmy too, and so and that's the thing. Losses are easier to you can take these losses a little bit better when it's not a complete embarrassment. This was an embarrassing loss. This was y'all should have just stayed home. We could have just called this one loss. It wasn't, there was no intensity. I think Doug in the chat said that Bam's not playing well either. No, he's not, but he was the best starter last night. He was the best starting player last night. And I do think that it's just a lot going on there. Somebody gave Trevor a pass on him not scoring, and I get that, but I don't. When you are in the playoffs and it's all about getting through the playoffs, you got to step up, period. I don't give Kyle Kuzma no passes on goose eggs. I'm not giving Trevor Ariza a pass on goose eggs. Sorry, Trevor. I actually know Trevor personally, so if you're watching this, sorry, I love you, but no passes.
Jackie's going to get some angry DMs later from her BFF. Oh, gosh. All right, well, let's get into this Julio Jones update, because if you were watching us yesterday, you know that mid-show we found out about that whole Shannon Sharpe phone call conversation with Julio in the middle of Undisputed. There's a big debate online about whether or not Julio knew that this conversation was being broadcast live on air. I personally think that he didn't know, but in my video that went up after our live show yesterday, a lot of people were like, oh, he did know. What are you talking about? So clearly, people think that I'm wrong here, but I watched that clip multiple times, and you know what? We're going to play a little bit of it now because I would like for you guys to see what I see. So let's, Leo, let's get that clip up there.
Cowboys, Julio, or you want to stay in Atlanta?
Oh, man, nah, I'm out of there, man.
You
He's
out
out. He's out of there.
Are you going to? Ideally, where would you like to go?
Right now, I want to win.
So they also talked about whether or not Julio wants to go to the Cowboys. He said no, he's not interested in that. And then the way the conversation ended with Shannon Sharpe kind of rushing him off the phone, it even seemed like Shannon started to question if Julio realized he was live on air. So just the way he spoke so candidly, to me, it seemed like he thought he was just having a personal phone conversation with a friend as opposed to something that was actually showing up on live national television. So obviously those comments that Julio made sent shockwaves through the NFL fandom, particularly with Falcons fans, although I'm not totally sure they should have been so surprised by this because this has been a rumor that we've been hearing about for a while. But things got even more weird when the Atlanta Falcons decided to tweet out the news like it was nothing. They posted this, writing, "In a call with Shannon Sharpe, Julio Jones commented on his future in Atlanta." And it's like, excuse me, do you realize you're the Atlanta Falcons? Like, why are you tweeting this out like this is news? To me, it seems like they were trying to do damage control and take ownership over the narrative and be like, yeah, we knew this was going to happen. Like, that's why we're posting it like it's nothing. Let's get the tweets up there, Leo, the first one, if we can, because there were a lot of reactions online about this. People were writing, "It's over," with a broken heart emoji. Another tweet that says, "Look, I know Julio wants out, but bro, this man is one of the players in your team's history, one of the best players in your team's history, and did a lot for you. Do the right thing by Julio. Send him where he can get a ring, preferably Green Bay. Get there first, which will be a late first rounder, maybe a defender if you can swing it." And then another one that says, "Someone please tell me how we managed to waste one of the best receivers of all-time career. I hate that I support the Falcons so much. Our front office is a joke." So the Falcons fandom is very, very upset by this. But okay, so let's break this down. Let's start off with that live video from Undisputed. Jackie, do you still agree with me that you think Julio was unaware that what he was saying was appearing on the show?
I mean, so I watched that video over and over and over again, just like you did. And that's literally me with my friend calling me and me getting in the car and being like, "Oh, hold on. Because, there's that moment in time where it has to connect to your car. So that's what it sounded like was happening there. So it didn't sound to me like he wouldn't have been getting in his car if he was prepared for the call, in my opinion. So I still do not believe in my heart of hearts that he knew that this was a call that was being made live on the air. I saw somebody in the chat say that he had to have heard Skip in the background. Okay, but let's talk about that. If the way Skip got quiet all of a sudden, like he did, also makes me think that Julio didn't know. So I don't know. I still lean on the side of he didn't know he was on live television. I would have to assume, though, if you have a friend like Shannon Sharpe, even if you don't know you're on live television, you should probably know that anything you say will be used against you on first day or on Undisputed. So you should know that. But he didn't say anything terribly wrong. Everything he said was factual. So I don't know. That tweet from the Atlanta Falcons did throw me off, though. I didn't know you was going to throw that up there. I didn't know they had done that. Because that's kind of like, you don't need to do damage control. You didn't even put this man in your picture. So why are you tweeting about a phone call he had with Shannon Sharpe? I don't understand that. I don't understand that at all.
So, okay, I want to go back to what you said about, hearing Skip in the background and all of that. I don't think that that's enough of a dead giveaway that he was on air, because imagine these hosts probably all hang out in the green room together. I'm sure they get on FaceTimes with athletes. For those of you who aren't familiar with production talk, the green room is like this place for talent to hang out. And sometimes talent has their own private green room. Sometimes they all hang out in a green room, and this is where you go right before you go on air. So they probably all were hanging out there doing last looks before they need to get on camera. And I'm sure they've had many times where they're on the phone with an athlete, a coach, somebody, and everybody's chatting, because I imagine that that's just a lot of, how they operate and how they work. There were also a lot of people who were like, "Oh, Julio should have known that Shannon films Undisputed at that time." My sister calls me when we're live literally every single day. And I tell her every day, my sister, "Jordan, I am live on air from 9 to 10. I cannot answer the phone." She always does it. So you can't expect people to memorize someone's production schedule. That's just not even realistic.
They do not. They do not care about your life. Everybody in my family, my mother, my brother, my best friend, all know. I've literally gotten texts from my brother. I need you to call me right now, bro. Like,
I know. My sister FaceTimes me at 8:58 a.m. almost every morning. Jordan, I cannot FaceTime you right now. This is not going to happen. I don't know why she does that. So, you know what? That's not a good enough excuse either. Now let's talk about the Falcon fandom reaction. Do you think that people should be as shook as they are about this news?
I think they should be more upset. I like the tweet from that last person who said, I can't believe we basically wasted this man's career. I hate that I like the Falcons the way I do because the front office is terrible. I think that should be what they're shaking about, because the fact of the matter is this everything that's going on with the Atlanta Falcons that is negative is because of that front office. So that is where your anger should be. Technically, it shouldn't even be with Shannon Sharp, Julio Jones, or wherever he ends up. Your organization is trash, period. And that's, I do, and I gave them, I don't want to say a pass. I understand that you don't have any cap space. You don't have any money, so you have to get Julio Jones out of there. And I think that's beneficial to Julio Jones. So this is a win for him getting out of that organization. That being said, the fans need to really, and I don't know that, because, the organization doesn't care what fans do per se. But I mean, you can make an impact if all of a sudden you stop going to games, you stop buying merchandise. You can financially impact a team to the point where they have to figure out something to appease their fans. But this is all the Atlanta Falcons. This is not an individual player situation. I think it was somebody in the chat, and a tweet. I wouldn't be mad about this Green Bay thing, because that would probably instantly appease Aaron Rodgers. Because now it looks like you're actually trying to get me a weapon. I don't know if that, olive branch is enough to make him, because it might be too much, too little, too late. But if that did happen, I think maybe we see a softer, gentler Aaron Rodgers when it comes to Green Bay, because we know that whatever they did in Seattle with Russell worked. So maybe a Julio to Green Bay would work for Aaron. So I mean, I wouldn't mind that at all.
I mean, it's an interesting thing to consider, and I guess we'll just be watching and waiting to see what happens. But, Julio's definitely wants out, and he's on his way out, and the Cowboys are not an option. So sorry for all of you Cowboys fans, but he actually wants to win. He made that very clear, and that's not going to be happening in Dallas.
That's a trash front office, though. Like, if you're trying to get out of the front office, Dallas is not the place you go. I'm sorry.
Very good point. All right, well, that wraps up Need to Know News. So let's get into the post-up. I know we have a lot of fun stuff to talk about.
Yes. Okay, so let's get right into it. I know you guys see this little headline that we have right here. I actually do not think that this was disrespectful at all. I think if you put yourself in a situation where we are kind of bored and we have something else to do, we might do it. Because like I said, that game was over pretty much in the first quarter. That Bucks were leading by 16 at the end of the first quarter, 27 by the half. I would not, that is so embarrassing. 0 lead changes, no shot in hell for the Heat to come back and do anything. So Giannis was like, oh, you know what? I also like to play football. So check this out. I thought it was adorable.
Move and picking up his teammate. And
look at this.
That's right.
Fancy footwork here.
That's what he used to. We all know the story.
Yeah.
In Greece, great soccer player.
So you know what I found really funny about that is technically that's delay a game, and he should have been called for that, because delay a game is anytime you handle the ball in a way that delays the game. That is technically a delay a game. But at that point, why would you even call it? It's 107 to 78. So that is just not. Oh my goodness. I didn't think it was disrespectful. I just thought this was Giannis being like, oh, something to do since this game is over. But Devin, what did you think about that?
I didn't think it was disrespectful either, but I could see as a Heat player or fan why it would just be annoying. Like, okay, we get it. you know, like, you're having fun. We're not. We're pissed off. So I understand why people might be upset about it, but I don't think that it was disrespectful about it. I didn't even actually see if a lot of people were that mad about it. I didn't see that many like hate comments. It's just funny because if you imagine somebody like LeBron doing that, probably would have caused an uproar. People would have been like, "Oh, LeBron needs to be thrown out of the league."
Yeah, absolutely. But his whole family grew up playing football. So, I mean, he just had a flashback. I mean, he had time. His mind could literally drift in that game. It's not like, his mind needed to be focused. So, Miami, that was just an embarrassment. But let's move on to this next one because this one is kind of, bittersweet for me because I really, really, really wanted Derrick Rose to win this because I think he deserves it. He's just had such a long road. But I've obviously got a strong fondness for Jordan Clarkson, so I am not mad that he has officially won the Sixth Man of the Year. So congratulations to him. The best part of this, though, is him reciting the Jazz history, and like he knows it for fact. And when they correct him on it, his face and them telling him he won. This is the best. Take a look.
Number 3, how many Utah Jazz players have won it?
0. 1.
Oh, who's the one?
Man. Yeah. Yo. Nah, bro.
That's true.
Oh, yo. Congrats, bro. Nah,
Awesome,
bro.
man.
Very well deserved. Oh, we're out of shot here. Go down so they can see your pretty face.
Yo, that's why you wore the shirt, man.
Yeah, I changed when I got here.
I wanted the Joe shirt. Oh, dog, nah, man. Hey, yo, appreciate you throwing me that ball, man.
Very well deserved.
Now that's what I like to see. That's camaraderie amongst teammates. Y'all know that I love me some Rudy Gobert, so I actually love the Jazz. I love Jordan Clarkson as well. But I thought this was a beautiful moment in time for him to find out because his face was so confused. He's like, there ain't been a sixth man for the Jazz. And then to find out he won, I thought it was super dope. And I agree with this next user because, like I said, even though I wanted Derrick Rose to win it, I agree with this. One of my favorite former Laker players, Julius Randle, facts, and Jordan Clarkson, also facts, the original young Lakers core. I love this. So fantastic job by Jordan. I'm so proud of him. I see some of y'all in the chat said that Derrick didn't deserve anything. And I'm not going to argue that because he didn't win it. But I definitely wanted him to. But this is great as well. So I want to get to this next one. I want to see how you guys feel about this, especially Stay Mad. Because this, to me, is this is fantastic. I think this is the best part of the Warriors being out. And now we don't have to talk about the what ifs and will Steph do this and will Steph do that. And now we can concentrate on one of my favorite Warriors, and that is Klay Thompson, because he dropped this commercial and it's all about his recovery. It is dope as hell. Take a look.
Klay Thompson's out for the year. I don't even know what to say. There's no precedent for a comeback like this. But the odds never stopped us before. No matter what the next day brings, we get up. We have to keep pushing forward, no matter how far we've been pushed back.
Let me tell y'all something. Klay, post basketball, needs to go into acting. I watch a lot of those suspense, high drama, sci-fi shows, and he's got that look to the side, high intensity look down. Like he's always had that down. I love this, and he's right. This is unprecedented, and I think that Derrick Rose said something when we talked about it yesterday that I feel that Klay might need to adopt. Like, yes, he's great now. He's playing great, but he's not the same player he used to be. He had to adopt his play in some way. So, Devin, do you think now that we're seeing this where Klay is basically coming off of 2 really big injuries back to back, do you think he's going to have to adopt his play, or do you think we're just going to get the same old Klay?
We're not going to get the same old Klay. I mean, it's just not possible. I feel like in very, very, very few circumstances have we seen athletes recover from even just one of the injuries that Klay has had and come back looking even remotely like the player they used to be. So he is definitely going to have to adjust and adapt. And I honestly think it's really unfortunate. I still believe in him to, be a strong player and to make valuable contributions to the Warriors, but we cannot hold him to the same player that he once was. Back-to-back injuries like that, I mean, it's just not even possible. You know me, I am usually the optimist out of the two of us. I'm usually like, yes, he's going to come back. He's going to be great. But no, it's just not possible.
Yeah, Christian in the chat. Oh gosh, where did I see it? It passed. Oh, best idea in the chat I've heard to date says Christian says the NBA should make a comeback player of the year award for situations like this. I think that is such a great idea because we see this so often where guys come back from really big injuries and there's always that question mark. Are they going to be the player that they were before? Most of the time, like Devin says, it's not the same player. So I think Christian knocked it out of the park. I love that idea. That's probably one of the best ideas we've gotten from the chat. Shouts out to you. So now let's move on to the. Yes, go ahead.
Wait, before we move on, our producer just reminded me that Klay is in Space Jam, so we may get more of the looks.
Oh, the smoldering.
I mean, I don't know how much. I don't know if we're going to really need that as much in Space Jam, but we might. He at least is, pursuing this acting career. Maybe we will get the intense smolder. There's
definitely going to be that one where the monsters come up and Clay's going to go. That big surprise. He's got the faces down, man. I'm telling you, I would watch every movie that Klay was in because it's going to be that like high intense. I don't know if you guys saw Jumanji, but that was The Rock's special power. He smolders, and I can't do it, but Klay smolder, and I like it. I'm a fan. I'm just hyping Klay up. Obviously, I like me some Klay. Klay is just a likable guy. I don't know anybody who doesn't like Klay. It's just not normal. But let's move on to this next one because I know a lot of people that don't like Draymond. But this is just so dope to me. And I actually am a fan of Draymond. I like the stuff that he talks. I like how he articulates. I think he's going to have a great career in broadcasting once his career is over. But I want you to check out this fan page because this fan page on Twitter, if y'all see right there, he has 4,946 followers. Not a ton of followers. He's doing much, much better on Instagram. Me too. I don't understand why I can't make that connect. But he's doing much better on Instagram. Let me show you his Instagram page, which has almost 100,000 followers. Yeah, so he has over 97,000 followers. And he's a Draymond Green fan. That's what he does. And so he decided to go and direct message Draymond and basically thank him for the season, even though the Warriors are out of it. And this is so dope because Draymond responded back. He said, a lot more havoc to be wreaked. Can't wait to see the big three next season. Thank you for an amazing season. Such a pleasure watching you going to work every day. Enjoy this earned time, Dre. And earned off Dre. So wait, let me read how Draymond responded. He says, thank you. Next year will be a lot of fun. Thanks for all that you do with this page. I honestly keep up with the stuff that I do through you. Thank you. Man, I'll be so over the moon. I need to start I can't believe I don't have that's a lot of time though. But I should start a LeBron page or at least maybe DM. Maybe he'll DM me back. But that would make my entire year. This is so dope that Draymond took time to not only respond, but to respond like with thought. Like, I actually follow you. You're my guy, and I appreciate you. I love Draymond for this. I thought it was a beautiful thing, but that's just me. Devin, what do you think? Do you love this? I absolutely love this.
Can you imagine if I came on here and I was like, I hate this. Draymond should not be talking to fans. No, I think it's...
Yeah, Devin, we agree with you.
Nobody ever agrees with me in the chat. I feel like they always agree with you. I would get so much hate. But no, obviously this is really sweet. I think it's nice to see Draymond connecting with fans. I know that a lot of celebrities and athletes do this with their like biggest fan pages, and I know it means a lot to them because you know what? A lot of these people are where they are because they have the support of so many people behind them. So sharing a little bit of love is obviously a nice thing to do. So props to Draymond. I like that.
I'm going to start DMing LeBron every day now. I DM him a lot, but not like a lot. It's just a little bit. Anyway, let's move on. Because this one I do think could work. So let's just jump right into this because I know you guys remember when the Houston Texans lost their whole entire mind and decided to trade DeAndre to the Cardinals. And it did help a little bit because they were 5-10-1. They had that one tie in 2019. And then last season they were 8-8. So they did improve a little bit. But I think DeAndre Hopkins is out here trying to give Kyler Murray a little bit more help. So let's take a look at this. So first of all, I love this picture. Everybody kind of matching. Y'all see my boy Michael Irvin in there. Love this picture. But then DeAndre says, Julio, you remember what we talked about? And then Juju drops in with DeAndre out here trying to recruit everybody. But I actually am low key not mad at this. I'm not mad at this at all. And I agree with Mark Johnson's burner account. Mark Johnson has a burner account on Twitter, which is hilarious. I think I need to contact him to get him on a challenge accepted. But let me show you this next post. It says, with all due respect, it's only right to match Brady's energy. 100%. Tom Brady out here was recruiting every damn body. And nobody said anything about it. I think it's only right that you try to match that energy, especially when you know somebody is available. I think this could work. Maybe. I don't know. It could probably work. Devin, what do you think?
I mean, I've never been mad at strong star players recruiting one another, getting together. Like what Tom Brady does, I think is genius, and it works every time. So I think it's fine for anybody else to kind of copy that same strategy and do it all. Julio Jones wants to win, like he said, so I think he should definitely go where he's going to have the best odds of doing that. So I'm not mad about it either.
Yeah, and I've been trying to think where the best place would be for him to go. I'm going to have to put a little bit more thought into that. Hopefully his agent is also putting some thought into that because he deserves to go to a place that he's going to have the best chance of winning. So can't wait to see where he ends up. But his mind is going to be better the second he gets out of Atlanta, and that's what's important. So now let's jump into this next one because this one, I didn't ever think there would be a time in my life where I said, I love Carson Wentz in this moment. Never thought I would say those words about anything ever relating to Carson Wentz. But I do love him in this moment. OTAs have begun. And so now one of the organized team events I've always said that is very important is building that team chemistry and guys just getting to know each other and enjoy being around each other. So Carson and Mo Ali Cox had their whole squad watching this shoot around. So if you guys have played this before, it's the first one who doesn't make the shot that went in before loses. Y'all, this took a minute, and it was actually pretty dope to see. Take a look. They're so tired. I enjoyed every piece of that. I enjoyed hearing the teammates cheering for them. Somebody in the background said they got to be tired as hell. Probably because they both stopped at the same time, which I thought was hilarious. But I also love the pettiness from this next tweet because I believe this was 100% right. Eagles fans watching Carson in a non-toxic organization. And that's how him and Mo look like, hey, let's just play some basketball. Petty, but factual. Another toxic organization is the Eagles. Maybe it just has to do with the Birds. Maybe the Bird, no, because Green Bay. Anyway, congratulations to Carson for me having a moment where I'm not talking trash about him. So we should write this moment down and let's see if it continues. Mo won. If I saw you, Christian, Mo won. So let's get into this next one because I cannot wait to hear what Devin thinks about this one. Because first of all, we wouldn't know about this if Liz hadn't told us about it. So if you don't know, because I feel like a lot of you guys might not, the WNBA is back in full swing. I am finding it a little bit easier to find games this season. So that's a good thing. That's a step in the right direction. I know we talked about the WNBA struggles because we can't ever watch their games. So it's not really easy, but it's easier. So that's good. So, but apparently controversy is amiss already. So the Connecticut Sun head coach, Kurt Miller, has been fined $10,000 and suspended 1 game. Now, he is the head coach. I just want you to remember that because I feel of all people who should know better, it is the head coach. But he's been fined $10,000 and suspended 1 game after Las Vegas Aces. Liz plays for the Las Vegas Aces, and she took to Instagram to say that the head coach, Kurt Miller, basically called her out about her weight, and she drug him. Let me let you listen to what she says about when he drug her about her weight.
To the coach of Connecticut, I'm sorry, little sir man, I do not know your name. But the next time you try to call out a referee, trying to get a call being like, come on, she's 300 pounds. I'm gonna need you to get right, baby, because I'm 6'8". I'm weighing, I just double checked, because I love to be correct and get facts. I'm weighing 235 pounds, and I'm very proud of being a big bitch. Body, Big Ben's baby. So don't ever try to disrespect me or another woman in the league. I don't know if that's how coaches run. You just try to disrespect women like that from the sideline. And you so lucky it was during a game. That whole pot, you were so lucky that I was doing my job.
Facts. So here's the thing. Now, the truth shall set you free. Don't get me wrong, but I don't think anyone else heard it in that moment because it wasn't addressed anywhere else until Liz put it on her Instagram. So what you do is you just don't say anything. But I don't know what she's talking about. I ain't said nothing like that. But that's not what he did. The head coach actually apologized for it, and he put out a statement where he just said, I made an inappropriate comment. And that's all he said. He didn't say, oh, I really shouldn't have said that. It's horrible. I can't believe I tried to drag a woman because of her weight. The woman's 6'8". How much you expect her to weigh? That's ridiculous. And I agree, Mara, she's gorgeous. So sit down, little man, sir. I love how she said that. But if you're going to apologize, do a full apology and said that was inappropriate to dog anybody about their weight. Don't just say I said something inappropriate. Devin, what do you think about this?
So I'm always torn on these kinds of situations because I know that women in general are held to a much higher, stricter standard by society in terms of what our bodies need to look like, how much we need to weigh, and the pressure to fit into a certain type of mold is a lot more difficult for women, and it's a lot just more intense for women in the world. But then again, we also look at players like James Harden, like Zion Williamson in the NBA, and we're like, oh, he's looking chubby, Zion needs to lose some weight, and nobody gets mad about that. So there is this double standard, and I think it's because a double standard exists in society where men are kind of able to have multiple different types of bodies that fit into this specific mold of what's normal, while women are held to one single standard most of the time. So if I'm just speaking from the heart, I think it was wildly inappropriate for the coach to say anything about her weight. She's an athlete. She is a very tall woman. I don't like this at all, but I acknowledge that there is a double standard. And I just felt like that was worth mentioning. But I don't like this. I'm glad that he apologized. I'm glad that she called him out. I like everything about that. So I don't know. That's kind of how I feel about it. I feel like trying to be reasonable looking at it because we hold male athletes, NBA athletes, to a different standard.
Yeah, and that's true. Even when I'm with my friends, and if we see a guy walk by and he's, big and tall, we're like, damn, that's a big boy. And everyone will laugh about it. I've even had guys hear it and turn around and be like, yeah, I am. And it's just funny. But if a woman walks by and you say, that's a big girl, that big girl might want to fight. I don't fight big girls. I'm not doing that. So, it's just a different, they take offense to it. And it's just one of those things you just have to be, I don't think he meant anything by it. Because I could just in my head seeing, if she got the foul, in his head, he was saying, she big as hell. You can't be calling fat. Stop. I could see, he didn't mean it like that. But again, this is a different situation. So you have to be mindful of it. So, But good for her for calling them out, though, because she could have let this one go under the rug, but she didn't. So let's get on to my favorite post up today, because this is my girl. She is just amazing. So Simone Biles, if you don't know, now I saw her talk about this on her Instagram because I follow her on her Instagram, and I'm gonna say this wrong, but it's called I think it's a Yurchenko double pike. Which is not a thing. People don't really do this for a lot of reasons. Number one, it's super dangerous because you're always worried about not getting enough height. And if you're vaulting that way, you could really hurt yourself. So it's super dangerous. A lot of people don't do it for that reason. She is the first woman to even attempt this in a competitive situation. And everything I read about it was like, she shouldn't do it. She's already proven that she's the best. She does not need to do it. But Simone was like, I'm going to do it anyway. So I want you to take a look at this because this is amazing.
Back in Indianapolis, ready to watch Simone Biles do something astonishing once again. And forget about her. How much have you guys thought about this the last couple of days?
I mean, since the very first moment that we actually saw this with our own eyes right in front of us, it has been absolutely unbelievable to watch every single time. Here we go.
Oh.
Wow.
Unbelievable.
Crazy.
You know, yesterday Simone told us that she likes to let her gymnastics speak for her. Well, the queen has definitely spoken.
Even her coaches were shaking their heads at the end. And they've seen her do it.
Right. She said, well, I made it. So here's the thing. And I saw some of you guys in the chat. You said you don't watch gymnastics. I love gymnastics. I watch it all the time. She over rotated because she was so high. And that's why she didn't stick the landing. But with that specific vault, you're worried about not being high enough. So that's how high she got. She was so high that she over rotated a little bit. This is crazy. And the other thing that I know you guys probably didn't see is on her leotard, right in the back, is a rhinestone goat. She had a rhinestone goat. So girl knows she's the goat, but she still can't believe that she did this because she posted this to her Twitter and she said, I'm sorry, but I can't believe I competed a double pike on a vault. And that's crazy because it is unheard of. Goat for real. I'm so glad that she had that rhinestone goat on her butt because yes, girl. Yes, you did that. And I'm so proud of you, girl. I'm so proud of you. This is historic. First woman to ever do this in a competitive sport. Y'all need to go. If y'all ain't following Simone Biles, please go follow her because this girl is the GOAT. So now let me get into this next one because we talked about this yesterday. And Devin, did you have something to say about Simone though before I go on?
I mean, as somebody who did competitive gymnastics as a little kid, I live for this. I love it so much. And then also somebody tweeted that they got to change the sport to her name, like gymnastics or something. So I thought that was funny. It really should be called gymnastics because she is the GOAT of gymnastics. There's never been anybody better. So it's very impressive. And watching her do that makes me gives me that, I don't know how to describe the feeling that I feel. I'm going to sound like a freak, but I love it. I love it.
I mean, when she was running up to the vault, I literally felt everything. I felt goosebumps. I felt fear. I felt worry, because this is such a hard, I think it's like 6.8 in difficulty or something like that. It's crazy. So she's definitely the GOAT. So for sure. But yes, all of that. So let's move on to this last post up because Shaq's the GOAT of sleeping. And I know he called out Chuck yesterday for sleeping on the job, but Shaq has, I got so many times that I talked about Shaq sleeping and Chuck he's not on social media, so he can't see all of this, but don't worry, Junior got you covered. And now let's take a look. First of all, I don't like the way Shaq sleeps. That's number one. This is fine. This is a normal, I just knocked out watching TV. But this one, why is his tongue moving like that when he sleeps? I couldn't wake up and see that. That would bother me. And why is his son putting it all on blast like this? Chuck, just go to Junior's page, grab some of these TikToks and put it on the show every time he clowns you. I hate this picture right here. I don't like it. Devin, I don't like it. I don't like it. I thought you had something to say, but the way he sleeps, I don't like that.
I don't like it either. Yeah, it's very uncomfortable to watch that whole thing. Ooh.
Yeah, it is a lot. Is a lot. But now let's go into what we not gonna do, because this one very, very interesting to me. It's not. It's a lot. So let me just. You guys remember we told you about Kwame Brown and all of his up in armsness that he's doing. And it was just very odd. And like I said, I thought that maybe he was going through some sort of mental crisis with the way he was acting, because it just didn't seem normal. But at the same time, you still put it out there. And so I definitely liked what Matt Barnes had to say about it. He was like, come on the show. I also like what Steven Jackson had to say about it. He was like, bruh, we were just cracking jokes. But you can't crack jokes about my level of play, but we can crack jokes about yours, because yours was trash. But if you feel like you want to get froggy, then jump, So I definitely liked what Steven Jackson had to say. But Steven Jackson has decided to take an opportunity to walk it back. Now, I have mixed feelings about this, because I'm not like, if you're close to me, I'm type of person that I say what I mean and I mean what I say. I never say anything that I don't mean. Now, if I'm going to issue an apology about something I said, I might say, I'm sorry that I made you feel that way. Maybe I shouldn't have said that out loud, or especially if I don't have like the right information, that's when I'll definitely apologize. Like, oh, damn, I didn't know all of that. Maybe I shouldn't have said that. But that's if I don't have the right information, that's the only time where I'm just going to issue a flat out, I'm sorry. Usually it's just, I'm sorry how I made you feel. But at the same time, like I said, I can see that Kwame's kind of going through something. So maybe Steven Jackson is just taking the high road. So I actually really respect him for kind of doing that and apologizing publicly, which again, that could have just happened privately. You just could have contacted Kwame and you guys could have just worked it out together. And I'm a big fan of kinfolk, as Black folks, trying to keep the peace and sticking together at all costs. So I got to give Steven Jackson this big high five for doing this. The problem is it didn't go the way that I think Steven Jackson thought it was supposed to go. So let me just read you. I want to show you this tweet. So what he posted on his IG. And he says, y'all run and publicly apologize to other folks when they threaten your jobs, but won't apologize to your family member. No pride here. I apologize for the joke I made. I made it publicly and it was meant as a joke, nothing more. I respect how you feel. I fully understand. Wasn't my intention. We was teammates and I never have and never will demean one. So, and then that's what his Instagram post said. But then in the caption, he said this. He said, so this is a different one, but in the caption of that tweet, he said, we both asked for public apologies, proud of the man I am today. The uneducated might say I'm a mark for apologizing, but then again, if they had my life, they would too. I never want to be a part of something that's been done for 20 years, bro. Not my intention. So then he posted that picture that was up just a second ago. And he says, I disrespected him. He disrespected me. We agree on that and moved on. It's dead. Sorry, nobody got killed or hurt. No, that's what y'all wanted. It's a new day. Staying in my dean. I don't know what the hell that means. But making peace and me growing ain't for you to understand. $31,000 off cash off of IG this month. If it ain't beneficial, it's artificial. Make it make sense. I've only been a Muslim for a few months. Can't change 43 years overnight. Headed in the right direction. En route to even more righteousness. And then there goes Sean King actually responded to that and said, okay, blessings. So I was like, okay, I did not actually know that Steven Jackson was trying to be, I had no idea. I'm sure he mentioned it in the past, but maybe I glossed over it. But I was like, okay, you know what? I can appreciate that because again, I feel like Kwame was going through something and so that's fine. But what I noticed was Steven Jackson said, we agreed to apologize to each other publicly. So what do? I go to Kwame Brown's Instagram, and this is what I see. He's basically saying that, so in the caption, he was like, oh, he's fake. He's trying to apologize to me, but he's out here threatening me. This looks like a mutual threat, and there's a lot. Devin would always call you out on this because you're posting one part of the conversation. That's number one. Number two, I can't see the date stamp on this. I don't know if this conversation happened before or after the apology, but he's presenting it like it came after the apology. So he says, you can front all you want for the internet. When you get back to Atlanta, we can definitely line it up if that's what you want. Just don't tell the Breakfast Club to put out that I'm angry and dangerous, because that's what Kwame had said, that Steven Jackson was out there basically threatening him. And he says, call me. You call me. I don't speak to nobody about you. You know, ain't no punk in me. I'm not trying to go there, little one. That person dead. I know some people who want to play. If you do, if you don't have to go there, if we don't have to go there, if you want to rap, we can. If not, catch you in traffic. So who's threatening who in this direct message? Because again, can't see the whole thing, don't know where it started, but I do know that Kwame has issued 0 apology, where Steven Jackson has basically issued 2. What the hell? I don't even know. This is why and apparently when you read through the comments on this situation, it's because Kwame wanted the apology to be done on video, because Steven Jackson's original diss was on video. So he got a little upset about the fact that it was written and not done on video, and it wasn't a public apology in that way. An apology is an apology, sir. I don't know. You can't just, this ain't Burger King. You can't just have it your way. This is how he wanted to apologize. This is how he apologized. I don't understand why Kwame is digging up DMs to try to shade Steven Jackson, who literally tried to squash the situation. Oh, God, what we not going to do is give Kwame no more time, y'all. This man is just begging for time and energy, and we have given him too much on headlines. Please and thank you. This man don't work my last damn nerves. I cannot with this man. Devin, what are your thoughts on this?
I just want to say that last week I was the one who said it's time we ignore Kwame Brown, not give him any more attention. Don't put him on the All the Smoke podcast. Let's just let him simmer in oblivion for a little bit, because right now it's just, things are getting so convoluted and confusing. You can't, if somebody issues an apology, you can't say that's not the form of the apology that I wanted. You accept the apology and move on. You can't force people to do exactly what you want them to do. This whole thing just feels very unnecessary and convoluted. That's the best word I can describe it. It's just all over the place. It's too much back and forth. It's too many receipts being posted without enough context. So I don't know. I mean, I do agree with you. I think it's time we stop giving him space in the headlines and hope that he gets the help that he needs, because he's obviously going through it right now.
Clearly. So this is going to be the last time we talk about you, Kwame. I hope you enjoyed your little 15 minutes of fame, but it's over now.
All right, you guys. Well, let's wrap up our show for the day. We're going to be back at 9 a.m. Pacific Standard Time tomorrow as usual, so tap the bell for notifications. Don't forget to subscribe, leave a comment below, share this video with your friends, and set your time or your alarms for tomorrow at 1 p.m. to catch Challenge Accepted. It's coming out Wednesday, 1 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, and we'll see you guys tomorrow. Have a great day, everybody. Enjoy your tacos.